Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivarodari Jaya Jana Vallabha Jaya Giri Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Prajajana Ranjana Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parikaracharya Storashat Shri Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parikaracharya Storashat Shri Srimati Bhakti Siddhanta Goswami Maharaj ki Ananda Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki Prem se bolo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrind ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shishi Guru and Gauranga. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, text number 13. I'm correct, Surya Prabhu? Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswati vyasam tato jayamudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one shall offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto non-Narayan Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasdev, the author. Nast prayesu abhadresu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavate uttam shloke bhaktir bhavati nashtake. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome in the heart is almost completely destroyed, and love in service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Ata Pumbi Dvijashrestha Vana Ashma Vibhagasa Swanistitasya Dharmasya Samsiddhir Haritosanam Ata Pumbir Dvijashrestha Vana Ashma Vibhagasa Swanistitasya Dharmasya Samsiddhir Haritosanam Ata Pumbir Dvijashrestha Vanashma Vibhagasa Swanusitasya Dharmasya Samsiddhir Haritosanam. Please repeat. Ata Pumbir Dvijashrestha Vanashma Vibhagasa Asya Ata Pumbir Ata Pumbir Nashma Vibhagasa Ata Pumbir Dvijashrestha Nashma Vibhagasa Swanuditasya Dharmasya Samsiddhi Haridoshanam. Mataji. Ata Pumbir Dvijashrestha Vanashram Vibhagasa Samsiddhi. Mataji. Ata Pumbir Dvijashrestha Vana Ashram Vibhagasa Nuditasya Dharmasya Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. Ata Pumbir Dvijashrestha Vana Ashram Vibhagasa Swanustitasya Dharmasya Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. Anyone else? Ata so Pumbi by the human being. Dvijashrestha O best among the twice born. Varna Ashrama, the institution of 4 castes and 4 orders of life. Vibhagasa, by the division of Swanustitasya, of one's own prescribed duties. Dharmasya, occupational. Samsiddhi, the highest perfection. Hari, the personality of Godhead. Tosanam, pleasing. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. O best among the twice born, It is therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed for one's own occupation according to caste divisions and orders of life is to please the personality of Godhead. Please repeat after me. O best among the twice born, it is therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed for one's own occupation according to caste divisions and orders of life is to please the personality of Godhead. Purport. Human society all over the world is divided into 4 castes and 4 orders of life. The 4 castes are the intelligent caste, the martial caste, the productive caste, and the laborer caste. These castes are classified in terms of one's work and qualification and not by birth. Then again, there are 4 orders of life, namely the student life, the householder's life, the retired life, and the devotional life. In the best interest of human society, there must be such divisions of life. Otherwise, no social institution can grow in a healthy state. And in each and every one of the above mentioned divisions of life, the aim must be to please the supreme authority of the personality of Godhead. This institutional function of human society is known as the system of Varna, Ashram and Dharma, which is quite natural for the civilized life. The Varna Ashram institution is constructed to enable one to realize the absolute truth. It is not for artificial domination of one division over another. When the aim of life, that is realization of the absolute truth, is missed by too much attachment for indriya priti or sense gratification, as already discussed herein before, the institution of Varna Ashram is utilized by selfish men to pose an artificial predominance over the weaker section. In the Kali Yuga, or in the age of coral, this artificial predominance is already current. But the saner section of the people know it well, that the division of castes and orders of life are meant for smooth social intercourse and high thinking self-realization, and not for any other purpose. Here in the statement of Bhagavatam is that the highest aim of life, or the highest perfection of the institution of the Varna, Ashram and Dharma, is to cooperate jointly for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 4:13. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pastata Dasatarine Om Agyanam Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakya Chakshun Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Before I start speaking today, I would like to seek the blessings of all the senior Vaishnavas sitting here to be able to speak something on the science of Krishna consciousness for the benefit of myself and all of us who are trying to practice Krishna consciousness under the footsteps and guidance of Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. So this chapter is entitled Divinity and Divine Service. And does anyone know who is speaking this? It is Sutta Goswami. As we know, in the previous chapter, the sages have assembled in the forest of Naimisaranya, and they have chosen Sutta Goswami as the most appropriate person in that assembly to speak to them about the subject matter of this important Krishna consciousness philosophy. As we know, Prabhupada has mentioned, as we know, we have the 9 processes of devotional service, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. And Srila Prabhupada comments in his purports that Shravanam, hearing from Srimad Bhagavatam, is considered the most important part of hearing. And that's the reason that we have the Srimad Bhagavatam class every morning in all ISKCON institutions worldwide, because the emphasis is placed on Shravanam and listening to Srimad Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada has very clearly mentioned in his purport that this is the most important part of hearing. Unless one hears, Srila Prabhupada continues to state in his purport, unless one hears about the holy name, form and qualities of the Lord, one cannot clearly understand the other processes of devotional service. So the emphasis is very strongly put on Shravanam and hearing of the holy name, form and qualities. And that's what Srimad Bhagavatam is about. The Srimad Bhagavatam speaks about the name, form, qualities, pastimes between the Lord and his devotees. Do we all know how many questions were posed by the sages of Naimisaranya to Sutta Goswami? Does anyone know? As Dhruta Karma Prabhu already pointed out, 6 questions were asked. 6 questions were posed by the assembly to Sutta Goswami. And in the earlier part of this chapter, we are in Shloka 13, but in the earlier Shlokas, Sutta Goswami himself says, Munnaya sadhu prishto aham bhavadbir loka mangalam yad krita Krishna samprasno yanatma suprasiddhati. O sages, I have been justly questioned by you. Your questions are worthy because they relate to Lord Krishna and are of relevance to the world's welfare. Only questions of this are capable of completely satisfying the self. So it's not just any kind of questions. It is questions relating to who? To the Lord. You know, there is a statement that is also widely used by Srila Prabhupada, is that we are trying to enjoy the kingdom of God without God, which is not possible. So these are very intelligent questions, because the whole world, Srila Prabhupada says in his purports, is full of questions and answers. The human being, unless he is fast asleep at night, is busy with questions and answers. You know, there is questions and answers going on each and every moment. Although they go on making such questions and answers for their whole lives, they are not at all satisfied. Because satisfaction of the soul can only be obtained by questions and answers to the subject matter of Lord Krishna. Srila Prabhupada very clearly emphasizes in the purports what kind of questions should be posed. And as we know, Sutta Goswami also is very happy because he's been asked questions relating to Lord Krishna. And also further in this chapter, we have this verse, Savai pumsam paro dharmo yata bhaktera doksaje aituki apriti hata yayatma suprasiddhati. The supreme occupation, dharma, for all humanity is that by which man can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendental Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. Yato bhaktir adoksache. So, very important subject matters have been spoken here. And in this statement, Srila Sutta Goswami answers the first question of the sages of Naimisaranya. So, the first question that is answering is relating to what? To devotional service. And what did the sages ask him? So the sages know that in the age of Kali, that we have short lives. It's already, we have a shloka in Srimad Bhagavatam that, men are going to be quarrelsome. They'll have short lives. They will always be disturbed. These are the symptoms of the age of Kali. So the sages said that, can you summarize the whole range of revealed scriptures and present the most essential point so that fallen souls of people in general might easily take to it. So this was their summary question. That we know that we are going to be troublesome, we are going to be quarrelsome, we are going to have short lives, we are going to be disturbed. But can you summarize the essence and present it to us? And so that's why it is so important to read and listen to Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srila Prabhupada says there are two types of occupations: Pravritti Margas and Nivritti Margas. Pravritti Margas are the people who are on the path of sense enjoyment. And Nivritti Margas are the people who are on the path of renunciation. Now, we know that the whole world today, including our educational system, Srila Prabhupada mentions, is geared towards Pravritti Marga. It is all about sense enjoyment. No one is considering or even spending the time on the most important thing, which is the soul. And because of that, everything is based on the bodily conception of life. And so everyone is following Pravritti Marga. Very few are following Nivritti Marga. And we know that Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma na sochati na kankshati, the Bhagavad Gita, that we cannot derive real happiness through the Pravritti Marga process. Srila Prabhupada says very clearly in his purport, material existence is temporary, illusory, and full of miseries. There is no happiness at all. There is just a futile attempt to get rid of the miseries in temporary cessation of misery, and this is falsely called happiness. As we know, that Srila Prabhupada in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam has elaborately, if we just read the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada has very, very vividly, some of the purports are like 5-6 pages, very clearly explained in detail each and everything about the science of Krishna consciousness. And I was amazed at how in depth Srila Prabhupada's line of thoughts are, because you can just see that he's saying that the temporary cessation of misery is what is falsely comprehended as happiness. Because we are all looking for happiness, but we are looking for happiness in the wrong place. And Srila Prabhupada continues to state that one should accept the supreme quality of occupation in the form of devotional service to the Lord without any tinge of unnecessary desire, fruitive action, and philosophical speculation. This alone can lead one to perpetual solace in his service. So, Srila Prabhupada doesn't just tell us to take on to devotional service. He also gives us how we should do it. He says the form should be that one should not have any tinge of unnecessary desire, should not have any fruitive action and philosophical speculation. That means accept it as it is. Evam parampara praptam. We have this culture of neti a lot. This is not recommended in our process of accepting knowledge. I'm thinking this, what about this? That's neti business. We accept it as it is through the guru-disciple relationship. So, we don't have any time for philosophical speculation. So, some of these things are hindrance in our, like Prabhupada says, perpetual solace in undertaking our service. Because we keep on thinking, oh, Srila Prabhupada said this, Srila Prabhupada said that. Oh, I have been told this. Oh, this is my understanding. No. We should understand things in their context and by associating with senior devotees. So Srila Prabhupada comments on the root meaning of the word Dharma is that which sustains one's existence. That's why, Sanatana Dharma is translated by Srila Prabhupada as our occupational duty. Because it is our very existence. It sustains our existence. We know that we cannot stay even for a moment without some kind of activity, whether subtle or physical. Because even in our subtle, our mind is taking us to different places or is trying to engage us in different activities. So, our occupational dharma is Jiva Swarupa Krishna Nityadas. That we are eternal servants of the Lord. And our pleasure is coming from reawakening and creating that sambandha, that relationship with the Lord. It cannot be done in vacuum. And Srila Prabhupada continues to say, a living being's sustenance and existence is to coordinate his activities with his eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord Krishna. Srila Prabhupada also continues to state that the bhakti cult is meant for realization of the positive form. When the positive form is realized, the negative forms are automatically eliminated. What is this positive form that that Srila Prabhupada is speaking about? Anyone knows? What's the positive form? Srila Prabhupada is mentioning in his purports. Brajapati Prabhu just shook his head. Brajapati Prabhu, you want to state it? Exactly. That's the positive form. So what happens? Because our mind is chanchala. It's very flickering. In fact, Arjuna accepts this. That the mind is very difficult to conquer. And if Arjuna doesn't find himself qualified, what is our position? We are nowhere near. So, through the Archa Vigraha form, through the deity worship of the Lord, positive, Srila Prabhupada says, you are awakening the positive form. And anything negative automatically starts going. And that's why we have Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam, all the 9 processes delineated, which also come to deity worship. And the last one being Atma Nivedanam. So, Bhakti is the supermost occupation of the human being. So, we are very proud, nowadays, whenever you ask someone, what's your occupation? Oh, I'm a doctor. They have a lot of pride. Oh, I'm an engineer. Oh, I'm a chemical scientist. But what is the most important occupation? What's the supermost occupation? Is bhakti. So in essence, devotees have the highest occupation in the eyes of the Lord. So sometimes we do not read carefully what Srila Prabhupada is telling us in his purports, and we get so many things bombarding us constantly. Oh, am I on the right path? Am I doing the right thing? Especially if you're in the Neophyte stage. Because obviously, we have the 3 stages of devotional life also, which also I will comment on what Srila Prabhupada has stated. So we get this constantly. Am I on the right path? Am I doing the right thing? Is this for me? Especially when you're in the Neophyte stage. That's why it's very important to read Srila Prabhupada's books. Therefore, we have to engage ourselves, Srila Prabhupada says, in occupational engagements that will evoke our divine consciousness through the process of devotional service. This is only possible by hearing and chanting the divine activities of the Supreme Lord. As we know, in the first chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is the mention about the 4 yugas. And that in Satya Yuga, people were able to do, because they had very long lives, do meditation. And then we came into Treta Yuga, and there was elaborate worship. And then came Dwapar Yuga, when there was deity worship. But in Kali Yuga, we have very short lives. We cannot do any of these processes. So the process has been made very easy by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that process is chanting of the holy names. Kirtaniya Sada Hari. Just by chanting of the holy names of the Lord, whatever benefits were achieved in the previous yugas can easily be achieved. So we are always also questioning that, we are in Kali Yuga, this is a time of quarrel, hypocrisy, everything. But then again, there is one Mahaguna. And what is that? Mahaguna, that the process of going back to Godhead has been made the easiest. So we should make the best out of this bargain. We know that we are not in the most conducive atmosphere, but we have a very simple process, a very subtle process. And that process is the chanting of the holy names. And when we are chanting the holy names, what are we asking in essence? We are asking to be engaged in the service of Shri Radha Krishna. We are actually asking Srimati Radharani. Hare is directing our energy towards Srimati Radharani. Please engage me in the service of the Lord. So chanting is asking for service. Because again, the emphasis is on service. We cannot do without service. Srila Prabhupada is our founder Acharya, and there was no time that Srila Prabhupada was inactive. In fact, I was reading some memoirs of Srila Prabhupada, and Brahmananda Prabhu was, at that time, Brahmananda Swami was commenting that Prabhupada, wherever he traveled, if he came to a particular place and it was 4 a.m., he will go straight into Mangalarti. Irrespective that he was in the plane maybe 24 hours. Wherever Prabhupada went, he automatically adjusted to that time. And it was like he just woke up and came out. So we can see he was always engaged. So this is very important for our own spiritual life. So Srila Prabhupada says, present civilization is wrongly directed towards the fulfillment of desires and sense gratification. As I had mentioned earlier. And this is very important because Srila Prabhupada, as I mentioned earlier, very clearly states that we are all, the current system is teaching us how to satisfy our senses. And as we know also in the Gita 4.13, like this, in this purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions also towards the end that this is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 4.13. 4.13, the shloka is Chatur Varnyam Maya Shrishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasa Tasya Kartam Apimam Vidhi Akartaram Avyayam. According to the 3 modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the 4 divisions of a human society are created by me. And although I am the creator of this system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. So the 4 divisions are also created by Krishna. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that. And that brings us to the 3 kinds of devotees. And Srila Prabhupada, in his earlier purports on this chapter of divinity and divine service, states certain things about Kanishta or the Neophyte stage. He says, the characteristics of the Neophyte stage is that one is not detached from material association. It's a very important point. Means we have come to the service of the Lord, however, we are still not detached from material association. Then Srila Prabhupada says another characteristic of Kanishta stage is that we are attracted to the preliminary process of worshipping the deity in the temple. And the third is that we are more attached to material benefits than transcendental profit. That was I felt that was a very important point Srila Prabhupada brought, that we are more attached to material benefits than transcendental profit. So Srila Prabhupada says that it is very important for every devotee who starts this process to quickly move to the second stage and at least come to the second stage of Madhyamadhikari. Because the second class position, the devotee can see the 4 principles in devotional life. What are those 4 principles? Does anyone know what are the 4 principles, or at least one of the 4 principles of devotional? Yes, Brajapati. I'm sorry. Yes, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, 1. The devotee, 2. Yes. Sorry. The envious, obviously, which are the demons, and the ignorant. So they can at least distinguish between these 4 classes. So that's why Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing that we should at least move from the first to the second stage. And obviously we know then we have the Uttamadhikaris on the third stage, which are the pure devotees. So also we know that we should transgrend the 3 modes of material nature and reach what is called the Suddha Sattva stage, which is above the mode of goodness. Because it is only in the Suddha Sattva stage that you can see Krishna eye to eye by dint of what? Of pure affection for the Lord. So, as we know that Maya is the servant of Krishna, so she also has a duty. And so, we know that Krishna Bahir Mukhya Hai Boga Vancha Kare Nikastas Maya Japatyatare. That immediately we face opposite to Lord Krishna. Maya Japatyatare. Maya is going to get hold of us. And we don't have the strength to fight Maya. It is only by the strength of devotional service, by engaging our mind, our senses, our activities in the service of devotees and following the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada, that we can actually keep Maya at bay. Well, it's very challenging on our own. And so, Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita that Mam Chayo Avibhyacharane Bhakti Yogena Sevate Sa Gunan Sama Yatan Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. That one who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. So even Lord Krishna is stating that how do we transcend these modes of material nature? It is through the process of devotional service. And I thought that was important to state because Srila Prabhupada is speaking about discharging the duties prescribed for one's own occupation according to caste division and orders of life is to please the personality of Godhead. And how do we please the personality of Godhead? Is it just by saying, I love God, I love God, I love God, I love? No. Love means true sacrifice. It's not by words, it's by deeds. If you just tell your significant other, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, and you don't do nothing, you're not going to be loving that person for too long. So, this is very key, that we are asking for service. We are trying to create that sambandha, and this is only done through the process of devotional service, and we have to become serious about this. Hare Krishna. Any questions, any comments? Maharaj has anything to add? Do we have a mic?
Everybody hear the question?
Yes. Did everyone hear the question?
Oh, I see. So, got it. Okay. So, Prabhuji, you mentioned the importance of accepting this knowledge as it is. And my question is, how is that different from dogma?
The simple answer I will give is that because we are following Sadhu, Shastra and Guru. And if all three of them are speaking the same thing, then it's not dogma. Because dogma is something that you are perceiving and creating that has no background, because you have one source that you're relying on, but maybe another source is contradicting. But in our parampara system, we have Sadhu, Guru and Shastra. And so whatever Srila Prabhupada showed by example is what is in the Shastra. And what is in the Shastra is also being spoken by others. So there is a very strong correlation of authenticity as compared to feeling that this is dogmatic. Maybe no senior devotees have something else to say, but I just that's the answer I will give off the bat, that I am not guessing this thing. I'm not thinking that this is dogmatic because of this. This is confirmed by these three authorities, Sadhu, Shastra and Guru.
It's a good answer.
Thank you. Maharaj, will you like to add to that? Is that appropriate?
Yeah, it was fine. I would just add to it that, first of all, there's two kinds of dogma. There's material dogma and there's spiritual dogma. Material dogma is based upon the idea that basically we are the body, and everything that we do is the result of our mental activities, and the accomplishments of such are on what we call the mental intellectual level. And it does not even take into the understanding of spiritual. Spiritual dogma is that which comes from the previous acharyas going all the way back to Krishna. So yes, that is a good dogma to follow. Dogma meaning, that which is stated as absolute, as unchangeable, and as forever. Krishna says you are a spirit soul. That's it. We don't have to say, well, maybe I'm not. Maybe, are you sure that no, I'm a spirit soul. Krishna has said it. He's absolute. He's all-knowing. So that's a good dogma. The other dogma is the speculative type, where people think, well, maybe it's this, and maybe it's that, maybe it's this, and maybe it's that. And this is really uncertain because it's based on a material understanding, material concept, and all material concepts are often here today and gone tomorrow. Scientists come to a conclusion today that this is the cause of something, and then tomorrow or 2 days later they find a new cause. So this is what we call material type of dogma. But spiritual dogma is absolute and forever and good and should be followed because it is coming from the right source.
Thank you, Maharaj. Any more questions?
In the verse it mentioned that to please Krishna, that's the perfection. Some said Hari Toshnam. So how do you know that? What is it individual, collectively? What is the symptom of when you've pleased Krishna?
There's a Guru Kripa Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. When your Guru is happy, satisfied, automatically Krishna is. Again, I'm giving straightforward, simple answers. How do you know your Guru is happy? That can be the next question. That, okay, yes, it's Guru, but how do we know Guru is happy? Exactly. And that's why I know that my own Guru Maharaj has told me this many times that, we have three kinds of devotees. One devotee is, Guru will say, do something, and it will come 1 year and go out. Second, will endeavor to do something. And the third and the best one is, without the Guru, they know the desire and they do it. And I remember that also when I was reading some memoirs, there was this incident with Tamal Krishna Maharaj. And Jayapataka Maharaj was narrating the story that Prabhupada was gesturing, with his fingers that he needed something done. And no one could understand what Prabhupada wanted. But Tamal Krishna Maharaj knew exactly. And and Jayapataka Maharaj said, this is a first class devotee. That he knows his Guru's desire. So I know there are a lot of Prabhupada disciples here who have taken the word of their Guru, Srila Prabhupada, as their heart and soul. And are doing so much. Satyanarayan Prabhu is preaching in the Middle East because that is a desire he heard from Srila Prabhupada. He took it as his heart and soul. So I see everyone doing it according to their propensities. Does that answer your question?
Almost. I'm just wondering also individually, is there something that takes place in the individual that some symptoms manifest?
The question, this answer that I have received from senior devotees is that they have more eagerness to do more service. When they have eagerness to do more service, that means a sign of more surrender. Maharaj, you have anything else to say on that? Yes. Yes.
Them as an opportunity to draw closer to him and to give him the pleasure that he gets from our doing these things, chanting the holy name. Well, why is Krishna pleased when we do that? But when we're chanting his name, we're being purified. He wants to see us purified. Why? Because the purer that we get, the better our service will be, the purer our service will be. And the purer our service will be, the more love it will have. And the more love it will have, the more Krishna's heart will be touched. So therefore, all of these things are very clearly stated in the Bhagavatam, and we simply should follow them. If we start speculating about them as to whether Krishna really meant this, or maybe he really had some other idea, we can get into a lot of confusion, a lot of misunderstanding, and a lot of doubts and uncertainties. But better to take it, this is what he said, this is what he wants, and let me try my best to do it. And if maybe I'm not so good, not so great, then we beg and pray and entreat the Lord, please help me to do it better so that I can please you more.
Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam class ki